Hello, it's Anne, and here's my first cooking video. I'm going to make something really easy and inexpensive that anybody can do, and I'm going to show you how in live time. We're going to do cabbage and onions with kielbasa. So we're going to start here, chopping everything up, and I'm going to show you first of all, for beginners, how to open an onion and chop it up. So you start with the onion here, take some skin off, and you're going to cut it in half. And then you're going to cut off the ends. Can't see this very well, but we'll learn as we go along. Cutting off the ends like that. Cut off from the board. And then you want to get the skin off. One of the tricks I do is cut the edges of the skin so you can peel it off a little bit better. Sometimes it's easier than others. There you go. Quickly, but be careful when you're doing this that you don't cut yourself. And I compost all my vegetable clippings, so I've got a little composter over here that I'm working with. But not everybody has that. So then we're going to take the onion, so I can get them in the right place, and we're going to hold it across like this, and we're going to slice along the grain line of the onion into little strips, like that, where we're holding it together. And then we're going to go back across, keeping our fingers out of the way, like that. Then you just fold the end over and do the best you can. The main thing is to get most of the pieces to be about the same size so they cook at in the same amount of time. So that's the onion. And you could do slices, or you can dice it, either way you want. That's the onions. This is the cabbage. I've got yellow and green and purple or red cabbage. I like to have two kinds for color. It makes it more attractive. Take out I've already actually used this for something else, but I'm just going to slice this into big slices like that. Keeping it fairly simple, avoiding the core as much as you can, kind of cutting around it. And I did get some of that in the middle, big piece, so I'm going to take that out. And I'm just going to kind of slice these bigger pieces up into smaller pieces. So, fairly straightforward. Keep them pushing to the side, and then do the other one. So, this is really fast. So, I'm realizing, of course, what I should have started with was the kielbasa in the pan. But, we'll do that now. Okay, we're moving. I'm going to try not to make you feel seasick as I move toward the stove. Here we go. Okay, so I have a cast iron skillet, which looks like that. I use it for everything. If you don't have one, you should get one. Olive oil. You can use any kind of oil. I sometimes use coconut oil. If you're a meat eater, you could use bacon fat, which I keep right here to use as well. Whatever you like as far as the oil is concerned. You're going to get the pan fairly hot, and if you are using kielbasa, you can of course do this dish and just do cabbage and onions, but I was able to find in these times a pre-sliced up kielbasa at Food Lion. This was a pound and it was $4.99, so I used half of it the other day, so half of it's going to be $2.50, and you're just going to heat this through. There's nothing really special about what I'm doing here. If you already have a kielbasa, I guess I'm going to need to talk louder because the sizzling is going to get loud. But if you already have a kielbasa, I usually use half of a kielbasa. Sometimes you can find those for $3 at Food Lion or Harris Teeter, on sale, what have you. I use a half of one and I slice it up into discs. This is already sliced up, so I'm going to make sure that all the pieces are flat in the pan so they'll cook faster. Normally I would have the fan on, but that would make it even harder to hear. But these are already pre-cooked, so all we're doing is reheating these, browning them up on the sides maybe a little bit. Again, I should have done this first. Oopsie. There we go. I'm trying not to do that too much. That might be a little bit annoying. So we're going to heat these through. That's going to be fairly quick and easy. Like I said, I should have started this first, then cut up the vegetables, but I didn't. So my first time, sorry. One of the tricks I can show you, tips that I have for you, that I use all the time is when I'm using a cutting board on the counter. A lot of times they slide around. So what I did was take a wet kitchen towel and I folded it up and put it here underneath on the countertop, and then put my cutting board on top, and keeps it very sturdy. Just a little tip. Okay, so gotta turn these over. You don't have to do anything fancy. I've got a big cast iron skillet. You could just kind of, I could flip it, but it's a little hard with the heaviness of this particular pan. But I'm just going to turn these over and get them as brown as you like. And like I said, if you're vegetarian, you could also do a plant-based sausage. I really like the Beyond Meat sausages. The Italian ones are really good that I use for some of my clients. You don't have to use any kind of meat product at all. So either works. I find even if I don't have meat that I want to use, sometimes using a little bit of bacon fat adds flavor because I am an omnivore. But do whatever you have on hand, whatever is easy. But this is a very, very cheap and quick food to cook for your family. I do this all the time. This is probably my go-to for fast food. All right, so we're going to just pretend that these are fairly browned, even though they're not completely brown. I find that if you've already done this, I want to get them out of the pan to give me room for my sauce, for my vegetables. You could do it all together. That's fine too. But I'm going to put down a paper towel and let that kind of soak up a little bit of that. You take it out. And now we've got some nice flavored oil in here to cook the vegetables in. And I'll remove those from the pan. Actually, I've got a timer on. Let's see where we're at so far. Well, I can't see it right now. I'll check at the end. Okay, all of that is out. Pan is still very hot. We're going to add the onions and the cabbage. We may have more cabbage than I can fit in this pan, but we're going to get as much as we can get in there. There we go. Like that. Some of these are pretty big. I didn't get them as small, but it does shrink down when you cook it. I've got it on a medium-high heat, which is what I usually start off with. And let that sizzle a bit. I don't add any salt at this point because I want to get it a little bit brown. But everything, oh, look at the perfect timing that my light just burnt out. Anyway, this is going to take a few minutes to get that brown. I sometimes will put a lid on it, or have one of these silicone things that I put on it to hold the heat in and let it cook a little longer. That also makes it quieter for us. In the meantime, I'm going to switch up these lights. It's hot. And get this one over here, over our pan. Because I can do it. There we go. Oh my goodness. That is such a bummer. Even a bigger problem. It's burnt out. It's not the bulb. Well, I'm just having a bad thing with my lights here. This is hilarious. First video, and here I am doing home maintenance. But we live in strange times, don't we? Great. Now neither one of them wants to come on. So now I've made it worse. Isn't that great? Okay. So moving on from there. Oh, I see another light I can turn on. Maybe that helps a little bit. All right. So this is steaming up. It's not going to take that long. I wish I had a little story to tell you while I'm doing this. Oh, I can tell you what we're going to put in next, which will help a little bit. All right. Put that lid back on and let it keep doing its thing. So the only other ingredients we're going to put in here is a liquid, which can be water. Easiest to use, water. I also like to use broths, and I use Better Than Bouillon, which is the easiest thing to use. You can buy these little jars at any store. You can also buy the big jars at Costco. This big jar at Costco, I think, is $6.99, and it's twice as much as this one, which is $4.99. But I've got a ham-based one, I got a veggie-based one, I've got beef, I've got chicken. I've also seen a mushroom one, which is really good. So find whatever you like. You basically just measure a teaspoon into a cup of hot water and you've got a cup of broth, and it's great flavor. When you're making soups, etc., and you want a little bit more flavor, you can just add another tablespoon of this to get the flavor, and you don't have to mix it with water if you don't want to. So that's helpful. Again, this is better than bouillon. All right, the other things we're going to use, if you were just using water to steam this a little bit instead of the broth, at the end we're going to add something for flavor, which can be any of these things. Simplest would be soy sauce or tamari. Now I'm gluten intolerant, so I use tamari, which is gluten-free. We've got liquid aminos, which is also a soy sauce alternative, but it is made from soy. If you are gluten intolerant and also soy intolerant, you can use coconut aminos. These are really good. They're a little sweeter, but it adds a nice flavor. And the coconut aminos are obviously, all those are good for people who are vegetarian or vegan. If you do eat fish and or you don't have problems with this, fish sauce is my favorite go-to for a salty flavor, especially with greens and cabbage. And then if you are interested in more heat, you can use any kind of hot sauce that you have on hand. All of these are either or. Let's look at our cabbage. It's looking pretty good. I'm really sad that my overhead light's not working, but I guess it's just not going to work for me. I'll put that back in there. Maybe this is one of those that only works if they're both in. No, now the whole thing is dead. What can you do? All right, so here we are. I'm going to show you what this looks like. It's a little steamy, so it might be harder to see, but there it goes. Still looking pretty good. Taking a little bit more time. Here's where I would add in liquid to get this cooking a little faster, and maybe add in a little salt, which will help to break everything down. A little salt. There you go. And I'm going to just put in a dash of water. And I'm going to be ready with my lid to put on here because this is going to really steam up, and I don't want to lose any of that steam. So I'm going to add it in and cover it up. Again, I just used water. I didn't use broth. I'm trying to keep this as simple as possible. Keep our costs down for those of you that are pinching pennies during this fun time that we're having at home doing cooking. So far, let's look at the timer and see how far timing's. Oh, great. My timer stopped. So it says on my screen here, it says 13 minutes. So that's easy enough to tell how long it takes. My mom's laughing in the background. She's supposed to not be making sounds, and she's making sounds. Mom, zip it. Okay, I'm just kidding. So, what was I going to say? The other thing is, I'm going to give this a stir. Make sure everything is getting steamed. Okay, there we go. Talked about the sauces, talked about the broth. You could also put in wine. Wine would be a great thing to put in there for liquid. We've got some box wine. That works. This is not one I really recommend so much unless you like sweet wine. It's a little bit sweet. But there you go. A little squirt of that. Add some flavor. All right, so here it goes. I would say that I would probably just cover this and walk away, give it about 5 minutes, and then I would use my handy dandy timer. I live by the timer, die by the timer. Obviously I have one here on my stove, but I always set timers. This one is a great one. It's a multi-timer, so I can do 3 different things at a time that my mom gave me. But that way, if you do walk away or if you're doing multiple things at a time, you don't have to worry about forgetting something important, like and burn your food. I was told once by a chef when I was taking a class when I was in Italy, and she said you have to cook with all of your senses. And she said, you know, you can hear when the pan gets dry. You can smell if something is burning. You smell if it smells cooked. There's a lot of different things that you can do, but if you really pay attention, you can hear when things are dry, and then they're going to burn if there's not oil or some liquid there. So I've always remembered that, and that's always helpful for people who are learning how to cook or learning how to cook better from your home, which we all are now. But like I said, I would just put that cover on it and let it go. It smells really good now because of the wine. But this is a dish that I make all the time. You could kind of play with it however you like. Like I said, you can add in other things. I wrote things over here that I was going to remember to say. Let's see. All you need for equipment is a cutting board, a knife, a skillet, and I like to use tongs, one of my favorite kitchen implements. I have these, and I have another pair that has Teflon on the end if you're using a non-stick skillet. I told you about my tip for the slipping cutting board. Also, you could add garlic, which I didn't, but if you have garlic, you could add that in there as well. So far, the cost of this cabbage was 79 cents a pound. We used 2 pounds of cabbage. That's $1.58. The onion was 5 ounces at 79. I think I did that at 79 cents a pound. I think it might be 99 cents a pound. Anyway, around 28-35 cents for the onion. And the kielbasa, depending if you get it between $3 and $5, half of that amount is going to be $1.50 to $2.50. And so that makes your total for this whole dish to be $3.36, or at the far end, the one I got with the kielbasa is $5, $4.36. So under $5, and this is going to be, I would say, 4 portions, depending on how hungry you are or how much meat each person needs to have. But I find when I have a lot of vegetables like this that I don't need to have as much meat. Kind of stretches the whole meal. Now, unfortunately, since my light is off, when I try to show you what this looks like, you're not going to be able to see it as well. But we're going to do the best that we can. And I'm going to get me a hot mitt. I love this mitt. It's so me. Here's what it looks like. Ooh, it's hot on that end too. So I got my little holder here. Like that. Very beautiful. Okay, you can cook it as long as you like. Some people like crispier cabbage. Some people like softer. I kind of go on the little bit softer end. I mean, the crisper end, because then when I reheat it, it's going to get soft the second time. And since I have 4 portions and there's 2 of us, we might eat this again. But I want to go ahead and finish this up so you can see it. And that, just add the meat in there at the end, stir it all up, and I'm going to add my flavors. Like I said, I really like the fish sauce. Use that. Did it open? There we go. Good splashing of that. I'm going to use coconut aminos. And it's sizzling. Yum. Oh, it smells so good right now. So good right now. All right. And then I would basically just put this in my bowl. Now, this isn't going to, I've got enough, like I said, it's going to be more than 1 portion, but I'm going to put it in the bowl to show it to you and show you how beautiful it looks. Voila. There it is. Thank you for joining me in my first video. I apologize for all of the glitches, but maybe next time it'll get better. And thank you, Ish, for the inspiration. Have a great day and enjoy your meal.